Your fish is staring at you right now. And here's the uncomfortable truth. It probably knows more about you than you think, not in a creepy way, in a deeply fascinating, scientifically proven way that most aquarium owners never find out about. Because while you've been watching your fish swim in circles, your fish has been watching you back, learning your face, tracking your schedule, feeling emotions you didn't think were possible inside that glass box. By the end of this video, you'll never look at your aquarium the same way again. These are the 7 things your fish wishes it could tell you. Let's start with something that will genuinely surprise you. Most people think fish have a memory of about 3 seconds. It's one of those facts everyone repeats. But it's completely wrong, and the real science is so much more interesting. Researchers studying zebrafish discovered something called episodic-like memory. This isn't just food happens here. This is a layered memory system where your fish remembers what object it saw, where that object was, and in which specific context it encountered it. Scientists call this the what, where, which event structure. It's the same building block of memory that underlies autobiographical experience in mammals. Your fish isn't just responding to the present moment. It's drawing on a mental history of its environment. But here's where it gets even more personal. Studies using what are called judgment bias tests reveal that individual fish consistently interpret ambiguous signals as either probably good or probably bad. Some fish are, by measurable scientific definition, optimists. Others are pessimists, and this cognitive style stays stable over time. It's a personality trait, not a mood. So, when your fish darts toward the corner every time you approach, it might not be fear of you specifically. It might be that your fish is simply wired to expect the worst from the world. And there's one more layer to this. Shy, reactive fish learn to avoid painful or scary things faster. Bold, proactive fish pick up food reward patterns more quickly. Same tank, same water. Completely different psychological experience depending on who your fish actually is. Your fish has a personality, and that personality shapes everything it learns, everything it feels, and everything it needs from you. Here's something that will make you rethink every moment you've stood in front of your tank. Your fish may actually recognize your face. This isn't speculation. Archerfish, a species known for their precision hunting, were trained on photographs of human faces. When tested on dozens of new faces they had never seen before, they correctly identified the familiar face with over 80% accuracy. Even when researchers stripped away color and altered head shape to remove easy shortcuts, the fish still got it right. And archerfish do this without a neocortex, the brain structure we long assumed was necessary for complex visual recognition. Now combine that with the episodic-like memory we just talked about. Your fish doesn't just see a human, it sees you. And over time, it can link your presence specifically with good or bad experiences. The person who feeds it calmly and predictably. The person who taps the glass. The person who rearranges the tank without warning. Your fish is building a mental model of who you are. There's also something beautiful and a little humbling in the research on aquarium viewing. Studies show that watching fish tanks measurably lowers cortisol and blood pressure in human observers. Your fish is literally good for your mental health. But from inside the tank, your behavior, your unpredictable movements, your sudden looming presence, the vibration of your knocks on the glass, those things shape your fish's world in ways you might never have considered. Now, we get to something that challenges one of the deepest assumptions people make about fish. Can your fish actually feel fear? Not just react to danger, but genuinely experience something like an emotional state? The answer, from the research, is yes, and it's more sophisticated than you might expect. In zebrafish studies, when one fish witnesses a distressed tankmate, it begins showing matching distress behaviors itself. This is called fear contagion. And here's the remarkable part. This response depends on oxytocin signaling in brain regions that are functionally analogous to the regions involved in empathy in mammals. Your fish can, in a very real neurological sense, catch another fish's fear. And chronic stress doesn't just make fish temporarily nervous. Zebrafish exposed to chronic, unpredictable stress begin bottom-dwelling, clinging to their shoal, avoiding light, avoiding new areas of the tank. Their brains show reduced neurogenesis, reduced growth of new brain cells. These behaviors are so consistent and measurable that researchers use them as scientific models for studying anxiety and depression in vertebrates. Your fish isn't just reacting. It's suffering in a way that has a biological signature. What's particularly striking is that early life stress can permanently alter a fish's stress response. Zebrafish larvae that experience repeated stress during a critical developmental window grow up with chronically elevated cortisol levels and heightened anxiety-like behavior. Months later, long after the stressor is gone. The tank conditions your fish experienced when it was young may still be shaping how it feels today. This next one might be the most ethically significant thing in this entire video. And it's something the aquarium industry has been slow to acknowledge. Fish feel pain, not just a mechanical reflex, actual, effective pain. Trout and other fish have nociceptors, sensory receptors, that respond to mechanical damage, thermal damage, and chemical damage. After a painful stimulus, fish change their behavior for hours. They rub the affected area. They lose interest in food. They become hypervigilant. And when given analgesics, actual pain relief medication, these behavioral changes reverse. The fish return to normal. That reversal is one of the strongest scientific indicators that the experience involves something beyond a simple reflex. One of the most striking experiments showed that fish in pain will ignore potentially dangerous novel objects that they would normally avoid. Pain hijacks their attention so completely that their normal fear response is suppressed. Only after pain relief does normal avoidance behavior return. That's not a reflex. That's a competing internal experience overriding another one. This matters enormously for how we think about tank maintenance, handling, and the conditions we keep fish in. Because if your fish can experience pain in a way that's functionally similar to how you experience it, then the way we set up their environment carries real moral weight. Let's talk about something you can actually change today. Your tank design might be quietly making your fish miserable, or it might be one of the best things in its life. Fish kept in small or barren tanks develop what researchers describe as stereotypic behaviors. Repetitive, functionless movements, constant wall following, hovering in the same spot, endless circling. These are the aquatic equivalent of what you see in zoo animals kept in impoverished environments. It's a behavioral marker of boredom and poor welfare. But here's the flip side. Zebrafish raised in enriched tanks, with plants, structures, varied terrain, show faster maze learning, better memory retention, and measurably larger brains. Specifically, their telencephalon, the region involved in learning and emotional processing, is physically bigger. The environment you provide doesn't just affect your fish's happiness, it literally shapes its brain. Water flow matters too. Studies show that environments with gentle, naturalistic water movement improve learning ability and reduce anxiety-like responses compared to still water. And your fish doesn't just want hiding spots for safety. It wants choices. When given a structured tank with distinct zones, fish use different areas for resting, foraging, and exploring. When those options are removed, abnormal behaviors increase. There's even research on puzzle feeders, enrichment devices that require your fish to solve a simple problem to access food. Guppies and other fish will sometimes choose a puzzle feeder over identical free food. The act of solving the problem is itself rewarding. Your fish doesn't just want to eat, it wants to think. Here's one that most aquarium guides never mention, and it might be the easiest fix you can make today. The color of your tank background is quietly influencing your fish's stress hormones, right now. Adult zebrafish kept for weeks in bright white or transparent tanks show significantly higher baseline anxiety, like behavior, and dramatically elevated cortisol compared to fish housed in black or blue-colored tanks. Blue backgrounds in particular produced measurably lower cortisol and less anxiety-like behavior in controlled studies. The researchers weren't just measuring behavior. They were measuring the actual hormones circulating in the fish's body. And your fish's sensory world extends far beyond what you can see. Anemone fish have 4 types of cone cells in their eyes, including one sensitive to ultraviolet light around 386 nanometers. They can see colors and patterns that are completely invisible to you. The lighting you choose for your tank, the spectrum, the intensity, the direction, creates a visual environment for your fish that you will never fully perceive yourself. Background noise matters too. Milkfish exposed to continuous low-level noise show elevated cortisol and gene expression, changes linked to stress sensitivity. The hum of your filter, the vibration of your pump, the ambient sound of the room. These aren't neutral background conditions for your fish. They're part of its sensory environment, and they have measurable biological effects. And finally, something that might be the most philosophically interesting finding in all of fish research. Some fish may recognize themselves. The blue streak cleaner rasa, a small reef-dwelling fish, has passed the mirror mark test. This is the test used to assess self-recognition in animals. A mark is placed on the animal's body in a position only visible in a mirror. If the animal investigates the mark after seeing its reflection, that suggests it understands the reflection represents itself. Cleaner rasa not only pass this test, they then recognize themselves in photographs. That suggests something researchers describe as a level of self-representation that fundamentally challenges our assumptions about what fish are capable of experiencing. We don't know exactly what that means for fish consciousness, but we know it means our old assumptions were wrong. So here's what all of this actually means for you. Your fish is not a decoration. It's not a living screensaver. It's a creature with a personality, a memory, an emotional life, and a sensory world richer than most people ever imagine. The science is clear, and it's only getting more compelling. If you want to do something for your fish today, look at your tank background. Consider a darker color. Think about whether your fish has genuine choices in its environment, not just objects. Think about the noise levels around the tank. And the next time you stand in front of the glass, remember that your fish may actually be recognizing your face. If this video changed how you think about your fish, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who care about their animals. Subscribe if you want to keep going deeper into the hidden psychology of the creatures we share our lives with. And drop a comment below telling me one thing from this video that surprised you the most. I read every single one. There's a lot more to explore. Next time, we're going into territory that's even more surprising.